You want to get an edge on turning back the clock with just a few pills? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. As I found out firsthand, there may be a way to erase years, at least inside my body. Granted, it's down the road, but some scientists are wondering if a new pill I took might offer a very long life.
It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment, a kind of guinea pig.
Dr. McCord, okay.
I'm here at the University of Colorado in Denver to meet Dr. Joe McCord, a world-renowned scientist.
This is pretty exciting stuff you're finding, huh?
It is. We're very excited about it.
His latest research could very well unravel the mystery of aging itself. And his decades of experiments may have the potential of adding years to people's lives and possibly prevent chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. It all centers around this small yellow pill, and for me, it begins with a blood test.
Can we scoop? Yeah, there we go.
It wouldn't be the first time I've given blood for this company.
They want to check my levels of something called T-bars, which is a rough indicator of a person's actual age. T-bars can identify a condition known as oxidative stress, a kind of measure of the wear and tear on our bodies. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing.
Bad for the body.
Leading to disease?
Leading to disease and leading to malfunction, and importantly, leading to what we call aging. It is a slow progression of increasing oxidative stress. That's the main characteristic biochemically of the aging process.
The problem of aging begins with the very food we eat to give us energy. As our cells burn that food, they also release toxic chemicals. Those chemicals, you may know them as free radicals, react with all the components of our cells, literally bombarding them millions of times per second, damaging all our cells. The result? Oxidative stress, and we all have it. The body fights back with a system of defenses. It makes two antioxidant enzymes, catalase and SOD, whose job is to gobble up the free radicals before they can harm our cells. But as we get older, some of those toxic radicals overwhelm our enzymes and wreak their havoc. For a long time, scientists thought that antioxidant vitamins like C and E would lower it, but they don't.
As it's turned out in just the last 5 years or so, we see that they're not good enough tools. They're not powerful enough.
But this pill, he says, is powerful enough. In fact, many times more powerful.
So, doctor, how often do I take these?
And so, here I go. With that swallow, I've just become part of a potentially landmark scientific experiment.
Doesn't taste bad.
It's called Protandim, and tests on both mice and humans have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us. Whether that will lead to longer life is still unknown. Experiments to see if mice live longer are about to get underway, but it's a tantalizing theory.
Right now, all we know is that this preparation decreases oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is not a disease, just like aging is not in itself a disease, but it's something that accompanies and is attached to many disease processes.
Have you discovered the fountain of youth?
I wouldn't put it that way, but we may have discovered something that will tell us a lot more about how we age, what happens biochemically, and maybe how we can slow it down. So you can see the age-related.
Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age. But in Dr. McCord's tests, taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old.
They all are reduced to the level of oxidative stress that one would expect, frankly, in a newborn or a very young child.
Back to the oxidative stress levels of a child? It sounds too good to be true. Will Protandim work on me? Well, perhaps. It turns out there is some other promising evidence that seems to back up Dr. McCord's findings.
That evidence comes from mice that have been genetically engineered to produce more catalase, one of the enzymes that Protandim increases. The researcher, Dr. Douglas Wallace of the University of California at Irvine, says it had a remarkable effect.
We found that they lived, in fact, about 20% longer, which is about a fifth of a lifespan.
He believes that with better techniques, human lifespan can eventually be extended too.
We might be able to increase the lifespan of a mammal by 50%. And of course, if that was a human being, then that might be in the order of 130 to 150 years.
The scientific evidence is there. The pieces seem to make sense. The question is, does this translate into something that humans can take advantage of?
So just what's in this seemingly incredible pill? Well, actually, its roots are very humble. Protandim is a combination of 5 plant ingredients. Some you may know: green tea or turmeric, a spice used in Indian cooking. Others, Withania somnifera and Silybum marianum, are more exotic.
There's a huge human experience with each of these ingredients. They've been used often in traditional medicine in India and China and many other cultures, in some cases centuries and centuries.
And so, ancient Eastern healing and modern Western medicine may soon be working together. High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's at the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma. I've studied all of these: strokes, heart attacks.
Even mental disease.
Yes.
Depression?
Alzheimer's disease, depression.
Dr. James Crapo with the National Jewish Medical Center in Denver is also researching Protandim for the company.
Are you saying that this could be a cure-all?
You're looking at something will have a small impact, but an important impact.
We make no claims about curing any disease or preventing any disease. We hope that when enough studies are done, perhaps such claims might be able to be made in the future.
Clinical studies to assess Protandim in both diabetes and heart disease should start in 3 to 4 months. But what about everyone's old nemesis, aging itself? Well, it's all about balance between the good antioxidants and those toxic free radicals.
And if we can tip that back, we may reduce some of the bad side effects of aging. Why my skin is different than that of a baby, for example. That's a very obvious part of the aging process.
But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. Dr. McCord calculates the numbers. The result, my level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically.
45%, that's excellent.
Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after.
Which, if extrapolated back, is the level you would see in a newborn baby.
Have we turned back the clock? Well, maybe not on the outside, but deep inside within my cells. Yes, indeed.
Would you suggest I keep taking this supplement?
I would. I can't guarantee it's going to extend your life. I can't guarantee it's going to eliminate any diseases or cure any diseases.
But we do know that oxidative stress is part of those disease processes. And I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old and find out that I should have taken it.
For more, go to our website at abcnews.com.
Developed after 40 years of research and exclusively for LifeVantage, Protandim is a true scientific breakthrough in anti-aging. Protandim has been reported on ABC, NBC, and PBS, featured in the Wall Street Journal, and described in CNN Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta's book, Chasing Life: The Quest for Immortality. Protandim's creator, Dr. Joe McCord, is a world-renowned scientist and a pioneer in free radical biology. Dr. McCord is the discoverer of the key anti-aging enzyme superoxide dismutase. His role in the discovery is so significant, the enzyme is measured in McCord units.
So it's very exciting, and it's really quite an honor at this time to be working with a doctor like Dr. McCord. You know, the information that he has put out is published in some of the most well-respected, scrutinized, peer-reviewed literature, like, for example, Free Radical Biology and Medicine, an incredibly powerful journal. But these articles and these studies that he has published really make it clear that This is very, very powerful chemistry.
For Dr. McCord's discovery of superoxide dismutase and his contributions in free radical biology, he was awarded the Elliott Cresson Medal. This medal is awarded to distinguished inventors and scientists, putting Dr. McCord in the same company as Pierre and Marie Curie, Alexander Graham Bell, Orville Wright, and Henry Ford. Dr. Joe McCord has devoted his life's work to the study of free radicals, their role in aging, and the many problems associated with aging.
Our bodies are producing hundreds of millions of free radicals at any given time. And the notion that we're going to put out that fire or quench that number of free radicals with a single capsule of, for example, vitamin E or vitamin C, really, when you think about it, doesn't make much sense. Rather, the approach is to turn on the genes to make huge numbers of copies of antioxidant chemicals in our body. Things like catalase and superoxide dismutase and glutathione.
Consumers spend billions every year on antioxidants in the form of food and supplements, hoping to reduce these free radicals. But antioxidants from these sources can only eliminate one free radical for every one antioxidant molecule you consume. Protandim is scientifically proven to slow cellular damage caused by free radicals. Taking one Protandim 1 time per day for 30 days turns on these anti-aging enzymes in your body. Your own enzymes eliminate free radicals at a rate of 1 million to 1.
I think any other supplements that are designed to be antioxidant supplements probably are no longer needed because Protandim solves that problem in a much more effective way.
Protandim is a breakthrough poised to revolutionize the anti-aging industry. It is an entirely new and scientifically validated way to fight aging, reducing your oxidative stress levels to that of a 20-year-old after just 30 days.
So the danger of these free radicals when they're produced as a normal part of our physiology is they induce what is called oxidative stress. And we can consider oxidative stress to be essentially rusting of the human body. And it's not just the parts, but we actually damage our DNA. The very genes that make us who we are to some degree are damaged by the process of oxidative stress, meaning that we can't heal properly and our bodies are more prone to aging.
We found, as many other scientists had documented, that there is a progressive increase in T-bars in your blood the older you get. When these same people took Protandim for 30 days, the age-dependent increase in lipid peroxidation was completely eliminated. After Protandim, we could no longer distinguish the 80-year-old from the 20-year-old.
Protandim is protected by 3 U.S. patents. Universities around the world continue to initiate and fund their own studies of Protandim and to evaluate how this anti-aging breakthrough can prevent and improve many of the hundreds of problems associated with aging.
Many academic scientists at a number of universities have begun studying Protandim because it represents a new tool. It represents a way of reducing oxidative stress that wasn't available before. There simply was not a good way of doing what Protandim does. Protandim interacts with the DNA in your cells and causes the cells to make more of a set of genes called survival genes. The ingredients in Protandim were actually selected because they're largely metabolized by the liver, which does not interfere with most prescription drugs, which are generally metabolized by the kidneys. So the general answer to that is yes, it is safe. The immediate benefits of Protandim are within several days, the biochemical markers of oxidative stress begin to decrease. And while these are immediate improvements, you may not sense that these things are happening, just as you can't sense what your cholesterol level is, if it's high or low. But nonetheless, these benefits start happening within days of taking Protandim. The advantages to taking Protandim in the long term are that it protects your body from the relentless progression of free radical damage as we age. The anti-aging aspect of Protandim is one that accumulates over time. So the longer you take it, the more protection you will sustain. Missing a dose of Protandim is not a big problem. It takes about 2 weeks for the effects to go away. So if you miss it for 2 weeks, you're pretty much back to where you started from. Protandim doesn't interfere with other supplements. If you have a desire to supplement vitamins and minerals, you certainly can continue to do that. Supplementation is generally not required.
We've got to have the hard science behind products that we recommend. And unfortunately, there are a lot of products out on the market today that do not have the science that they need. Protandim has the science that you can depend on. This is the paper that showed the synergy. The synergy of Protandim caught us all by surprise. It was far more than we hoped for. You might say, why'd you put 5 ingredients in Protandim? Why not just pick the best one? Our bodies don't let those ingredients in. Our guts keep out most of those ingredients. So you can get low concentrations of each of the 5, but not high concentrations. No matter how much you take, you're limited to a low circulating amount. What this slide shows is if you look at the individual contributions of those 5 ingredients, control is nothing. Ashwagandha is the first ingredient, essentially nothing by itself. Bacopa, nothing. Green tea, that's actually negative a little bit by itself. Silymarin, okay, something there. And curcumin, also negative. You put those all together, and you get the red bar on the right. That's what synergy is. A lot of people may look at the label. They may say, well, I've heard of several of these things, and I've been taking curcumin for the last 3 years. Why do I need to take Protandim, which may be more expensive than my bottle of curcumin? This is the reason. You can't do it with curcumin alone. You can't do it with any 2 of those. All 5 of those contribute to this powerful synergy in this particular endpoint, 18 times more than we expected to see by the sum of these individual low concentrations of the ingredients. Better than the sum of the parts. So that second paper showed that the 5 ingredients produce this huge synergy, that each ingredient acts at a low and pharmacologically attainable dose. Sometimes there are papers published showing that in a Petri dish, curcumin can do this great thing. Well, your body is not a Petri dish. For your body to use curcumin, you have to take the curcumin capsule, and it would have to be absorbed and transported through your body. That's what's limited. It doesn't happen. A little bit of curcumin gets in, not much. Protandim works because the 5 ingredients, it's okay if they're at low concentrations. In fact, it's better that they're at low concentrations because some of them have toxic effects at high concentrations. 5 things at low concentration working together, amplifying the NRF2 activation is what does the trick. And specific ratios are important. So there's synergy, there's a low dose effectiveness, and there's a specific ratio of these 5 ingredients. This paper also showed that glutathione is dramatically increased, nearly 4-fold, by treating cells with Protandim. And it's not because Protandim contains the precursors you need to make glutathione. It doesn't. How's it working? It's causing the enzymes that make glutathione to be produced. That's the part that's rate limiting. The mechanisms are very different. This shows cysteine, one of the key amino acids in glutathione, gets into your cell, and the enzyme shown there in blue, glutathione synthase, is upregulated by Protandim. So you can make GSH, glutathione, an important antioxidant protectant in your cells. But amazingly, what limits the amount of glutathione most cells can make is not the amount of cysteine that's circulating through your body. There's a little protein there called
C-. And it's a turnstile protein. If your cell is like your local branch bank, it may have a revolving door to get into that bank. And this protein lets cysteine get in one side of that revolving door, but only if another molecule, glutamate, is coming out the other side of that revolving door. So it's like a heavy door that it takes two people to push to get one in and one out. That's one of the most powerfully upregulated genes by Protandim. And that's the part of this whole glutathione synthetic pathway that's limiting. That's the slow point. You may have cysteine lined up outside the bank waiting to get through. If you don't have a working door or enough doors in that bank, no matter how much cysteine is waiting outside, it's not going to happen. So making glutathione is not getting more cysteine into your body or acetylcysteine or any precursor. It's about upregulating those enzymes that can put it together and make it for you.
Much has happened since the development and human testing of Protandim began more than 7 years ago. We were very fortunate to have been noticed by the national media at that early stage in our development, but an enormous increase in the scientific understanding of Protandim has occurred since then. There have been 8 peer-reviewed studies published in mainstream medical journals, 6 of which were funded completely independently of LifeVantage by agencies such as the American Heart Association and the National Institutes of Health. While initially we thought that Protandim might have a positive impact on only 2 antioxidant enzymes, we now know that Protandim is a powerful activator of a biochemical messenger protein called NRF2, NRF2, significantly modulating the expression of more than 1,000 so-called survival genes that enable our cells to cope not only with oxidative stress, but with other types of stress as well. In order to bring you up to date on what is arguably the most important supplement of our time, I'd like to share a few highlights by reviewing some of the major advances that have taken place in the science, including the peer-reviewed studies from a number of well-known universities.
Let me point out to you, too, how dramatically things have changed. Protandim was developed primarily to affect 3 gene products, superoxide dismutase, or SOD, catalase, and glutathione peroxidase. And the literature, as of 5 years ago, led us to believe that this could happen, this would happen with Protandim. And indeed, it did affect those 3 genes. What we've learned in the last 5 years is that it affects not only those 63 genes, but these 400 genes, all right? So 3 of those are SOD, catalase, and glutathione, or glutathione peroxidase. Have we realized that Protandim does a lot more than that? You bet. We went from 3 genes to 400 or 500 genes that we're now talking about. There's a human exercise trial funded by the U.S. Navy underway, and the armed forces, of course, are very interested in performance of soldiers under battle conditions and recovery times, and how much damage is done if you have to just exert yourself over the top for, let's say, 15 minutes of intense exercise. So they're interested not only in the recovery, the damage, but this one is looking at mitochondriogenesis. So there are things you can do that help your cells build more mitochondria, which means they can perform aerobically for longer periods of time. And so that's an interesting study. We now know Protandim does more than just deal with oxidative stress to remedy that situation. It involves not just superoxide dismutase and catalase, the first 2 enzymes we focused on, but as I told you at Elite Academy last October, we now know that Protandim modulates more than 600 genes. In fact, at higher doses, not used in humans, as many as 4,000 genes can be affected out of a total of 25,000 genes that we have. This is not a minor little tweak. This is a major readjustment of everything that makes you who you are and what you are.